What up? It's your boy T-Burn Reaction. Today is the follow-up to Wrestle Wednesday. So with this one, I really just want to add as a follow-up Wrestling you have for that follow Wrestle Wednesday before I added the Omega Wrestle Holiday we got released later on. So this is 10 wrestler WWE buried for getting too popular. Yeah, there's times that getting too popular in a crazy way would get you buried. Half because, maybe Vince or whoever don't want you being better than their R rate, their main star attracted they had set as well too. Know what I mean, and only people I can think of that dealt with this was Taz for one, because his run with ECW and all that, and Zack Ryder when he was getting himself over on the end, and that's how he came a top babyface and all that as well too down the line though. So yeah, and good amount of others. So yeah, sometimes being too popular can get you buried, and as crazy as it sounds, it's sadly true. I mean, they don't want you being bigger than the stars they have lined up as the top stars sometimes. So yeah. Anyway, let's get in.
I don't wish you good luck. I'm just being straight up with you. I don't want you to win.
10 wrestlers WWE resented for getting popular on their own.
I know he just said that just for what's name, but pretty much that's what it is.
Number 10, Zack Ryder.
Yep. Top one. He should be top one, be honest. He should be on the top one, but he probably somebody before him. But he should be on the top 10, top 5 at least, yo. But yeah.
Ryder deserves all the credit in the world for breaking the mold when it came to being a pro wrestler. Ryder was one of the first wrestlers to use his online presence to make a name for himself, and he truly set the template on how to use social media to create a likable character that could be translated to television. When Ryder first,
I did like that. Yeah, he the first one that started internet champion before they had the internet, the digital media champion TNA, which he went eventually win. But yeah, I like the little alliance that he had with Cena though.
started his YouTube series, WWE would actively ignore the fact that Ryder was slowly but surely gaining a huge following. This following gradually increased over time, and by late 2011, Ryder was one of the most popular pro wrestlers in the digital space. Unfortunately for Ryder and the fans, WWE had no plans to feature him in a meaningful role. He was regularly featured on WWE Superstars, a sign that WWE had zero interest in featuring him on Raw or SmackDown.
That's why when they Mac are doing he's doing his thing in the indie as well too, whether he's doing as a babyface or currently as a heel right now, he's doing his thing regardless. But anyway, let's get
SmackDown. But due to pressure from fans and no doubt some internal figures within WWE, they would loosely commit to Ryder's push. But the way this was handled was horrendously done. And then WWE would transition to a bizarre storyline which saw Ryder involved in a story with Kane, Eve Therese, and John Cena. Eventually, the crowd just gave up on the idea, as WWE were evidently not going to invest any resources into making Ryder a major player in the company. Number 9, Rusev. Rusev Day at one point in time were arguably the hottest act in WWE. Yet in typical WWE fashion, they resented the fact that names they didn't plan on pushing were getting over with the crowd organically.
Despite pretty much what it is like, and that sucks is like that though, because that's kind of like the best way to get yourself over is working like the crowd though, not with some BS for real, like. And then they put them in a little coil storyline down the line. Yeah, it sucks. It's like that though, because that's how you really should be getting real organic and not forced. And that's why sadly, we deal with like unfortunately bizarre war moments because of stuff like that as well too. Like for example, they dealt with Roman unfortunately in a way. I mean, he's still not a reason build business getting booed like that as a baby face, but at the same time, part of it is Vince's fault for not doing it the correct way. Glad that Triple H is doing the correct way with Roman right now as babyface.
Crowd actively heckling segments and matches with support for Rusev, WWE blatantly ignored it. And according to Road Dogg, who was writing SmackDown at the time, anytime he pitched something with Rusev Day, it was immediately shot down. Yeah, we saw Rusev Day getting over. I honestly don't know what happened to Rusev Day. One day we were pushing it and the next day we weren't. Honestly, when I say we were pushing it, it didn't go away. It didn't just disappear, we just weren't doing anything with it anymore. Every time I would pitch something, it would get shot down. So I don't know what happened. I'm not going to say anything because last time I said something, I got a phone call. I'm not going to have that happen again. But honestly, I don't know what went down that all of a sudden we stopped running with it because it was going really well. No doubt Road Dogg is referencing Vince McMahon, as it was widely reported that McMahon wasn't a fan of the gimmick. Number 8. Taz. Taz had the perfect WWE debut. He would debut at the 2000 Royal Rumble by defeating Kurt Angle, and it looked set that Taz was going to be a main event level star in WWE. But unfortunately, this push and strong presentation didn't last at all, as within just a few short weeks, Taz would fall dramatically down the card. Taz was booked to face Big Boss Man at the No Way Out pay-per-view, and logic would indicate that this would be another easy victory for Taz. However, WWE decided to end the match via a DQ. Following this backwards creative move, he would be moved down to the hardcore division, and before fans knew it, he was losing to Crash Holly on television. Taz was immensely popular with the audience, and he was translating well, so there was no reason as to why they shouldn't have kept the push alive. According to the legendary Jim Ross on his podcast, it was complaints from other wrestlers that led to Vince McMahon destroying the push altogether. People thought his suplexes were dangerous, all this other stuff. A lot of talents get back to Vince and say, you know, I really don't want to work with this guy. He's dangerous. So they tell me that, but they'd tell Vince that. He heard it enough, and he saw that a lot of the top talents were uncomfortable in stepping in the ring with Taz. He finally took it to heart.
I guess it was also more so like his style of wrestling than ECW didn't transpire as well in the WWE universe though. I mean, well that's what Vince Gill was trying to bury early big in his whole company trying to bury us though. So yeah, I guess.
Taz's WWE run could have been incredible, but unfortunately, backstage politics played a crucial role in the run not living up to expectations. Number 7. Baron Corbin. One of the most shocking WWE releases in recent memory came in 2024 when they decided to release Baron Corbin. Whilst Corbin had an up and down WWE tenure, during his final few years in the company, he'd worked endlessly to get better at his craft, and he managed to build an organic and consistent rapport with the audience. Corbin
Following in the Bayface he longed for it too, and it was a good one too.
Had an acclaimed run in NXT alongside Bron Breakker, and when he returned to the main roster, the fans were urging WWE to use him in any capacity. But popularity aside, WWE Creative just had no plans for him, and Corbin's release highlighted that even in the Triple H era, not every organically over wrestler is going to be given the spotlight. Number 6. Cesaro. But there were rumors for years that Vince McMahon wasn't a fan of Cesaro, and he resented the fact that fans actually loved him. This was all but confirmed when McMahon appeared on Stone Cold's podcast and basically verbally buried the former US champion. McMahon would state that Cesaro had failed to grab the brass ring. McMahon would even declare that Cesaro wasn't a draw, implying that Cesaro could never make him any substantial amount of money. These comments received major backlash from fans, as it was seen as totally unprofessional and had no place on a public platform. Things were never the same for Cesaro after the infamous podcast, as although he was given mini pushes over the years, WWE just never had any genuine plans for the Swiss Superman. Number 5. Christian. It's been well established over the years that Vince McMahon had a personal issue with Christian. When Christian was insanely popular in 2004 to 2005, McMahon outright refused to make him world champion, despite the audience and no doubt his peers wanting him in the prestigious role. Christian would even leave WWE in 2005, and amazingly, he would go to TNA and overnight become an established main eventer, a position he would be embedded in until his last day in the
I always said at times though that he pulled the right move by going to TNA because he was still gonna get overshadowed by Edge right now, who's really popular in the at the moment. So yeah, when he wins on around TNA, he did his thing though. I'm trying to remember what I was going to look up real quick with Cesaro. I completely forgot. Or Baron Corbin at least, and I completely forgot that man. But anyway, let's keep going.
the company. According to Jim Ross on his podcast, McMahon's resentment towards Christian was focused on his physique. I thought it was kind of absurd because Christian deserved more time. Could have helped us. He could have worked with these guys that were less talented than him and make them look good. I think Vince's issue with Christian was Christian's physique. He's not a big guy, you know? He's always in great shape, but he's not a big guy. And Vince always had these hard-ons for big guys. Big teams more often than not.
This man, always love the make me, man, slapping me. Stop.
McMahon's preferences for how his talented look often got in the way of giving the fans what they wanted, and this was definitely the case with Christian. Even when Christian won the world title on 2 occasions in 2011, the reigns lasted 4 and 27 days respectively, which highlighted McMahon's dislike for the man himself. Number 4, Cody Rhodes. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes finds himself firmly cemented as a face of WWE in 2020.
But before that, it was tough, man. He had to battle something. He did. Look where he at now, man. Despite the haters, but yes.
25, but over a decade prior, things looked bleak for Rhodes in WWE. Rhodes had managed to connect with the fans as a babyface, and the reaction to him at the 2013 Money in the Bank event spoke volumes. Fans were rooting for Rhodes, and they were more than ready for Rhodes to take the
remember we had that cop mustache for a minute, y'all.
Next step in his career. This love for Rhodes continued as the Rhodes family storyline, which featured the Shield, received a universal praise from fans.
Yes,
Rhodes was able to be spotlighted in the rivalry as if he was a megastar on the brink of greatness. Now, main event singles run should have followed these hot few months for Rhodes. However, WWE ultimately decided to change his character completely. He would then become Stardust, which was basically another version of Goldust, and the fans instantly lost interest. Fans wanted Rhodes at the top of WWE, and they did want Rhodes to receive a new outlandish gimmick that had a short shelf life. Rhodes' work during this character would dip dramatically, and he justifiably asked for his WWE release in 2016. Number 3, Rob Van Dam. In 2002, Rob Van Dam was ranked.
Yeah, man. Much as they got popular, this wasn't happening. He bought WCW and kind of ECW and did what the hell he wanted with it, pretty much. He did what the hell he wanted with him, pretty much. He's like, you're in my company now. You're underneath my guys I've put up for a long time. You're not going to be the bigger star than them. That's pretty much what he said right there. And now that's pretty much what it was right there. It was sucks kind of in a way.
The number 1 pro wrestler in the world by Pro Wrestling Illustrated. This was completely accurate as RVD was so beloved by all demographics, and WWE really should have capitalized on this by attempting to make RVD the guy. Unfortunately, this popularity wasn't enough for WWE to give RVD a shot, as although he was rumored to win the world title in 2002, he would ultimately be bested by Triple H at the Unforgiven.
That damn Reign of Terror, to this day, I cannot stand that shit. I don't care what anybody said. One of the worst long-term thing they had going at WWE, man, for real. It was.
Pay-per-view. Additionally, by the time WWE rolled into WrestleMania 19, RVD couldn't even make the main card. It was claimed that he had backstage issues with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and if this is true, then this petty issue prevented WWE from having a beloved organic babyface at the top of the card, which is exactly what they were crying out for at the time. Number 2, Rey Mysterio. It hasn't been uncommon for WWE
he is the epitome of what Vince do not like is little guys wrestling, pretty much.
Management to give in to peer pressure, as well as fan demand. When Rey Mysterio was pushed with a Royal Rumble win and subsequent world title victory, the fans were happy to see Mysterio in the role, but Vince McMahon just wasn't convinced. McMahon would have no doubt acknowledged that Mysterio was popular, yet Mysterio was the opposite of what McMahon liked out of a world champion. In one of the most petty and pathetic booking moves of all time, McMahon would commit to booking Mysterio's world title reign like it was an absolute joke, and this ruined any legitimacy that reign could have had. Thankfully for Mysterio, this bad booking didn't stop the fans rooting for him, as he was still on his way to reaching his iconic status. Interestingly, whilst McMahon no doubt resented Mysterio's popularity at first, over time the two were said to have developed a good relationship, with McMahon even giving Mysterio multiple other world title reigns over the subsequent years. And number 1, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan catapulted into
Of course, speaking of guys with ball that Vince did not believe in for a minute, is definitely Daniel Bryan for sure, y'all.
The hearts of fans around 2012 in WWE, and once Bryan had firmly resonated with the audience, there was no coming back. The fans had boldly decided that Bryan was their guy, and they were going to stop at nothing until WWE committed to making Bryan the #1 guy in the entire company. According to various reports, Vince McMahon reportedly didn't fully embrace Bryan's insane popularity due to a combination of factors, including his unconventional style and Bryan not fitting the typical WWE top star mold. Unlike a lot of names on this list, this resentment from McMahon and no doubt others in WWE would gradually change over time. McMahon eventually realized what Bryan had to offer as a performer, and McMahon had gone from trying to cancel and diminish his popularity to changing WrestleMania plans in 2021 to incorporate the man himself. But there you have it, folks. 10 wrestlers WWE resent.
So I mean, hit that, but think pretty much though, y'all. Yeah, man. Pretty much all in all is pretty much Vince not letting anybody be more popular than what he had, than who he had his mind made up to be popular. Pretty much this video is all about. Nothing more, nothing less. That's pretty much what it is. All right. Other than that, if you like my reaction to this, like, share, subscribe my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bear signing off. One love.